Here we go now, let's make our own way. Now is the time and we'll make it okay.
What is going on, my little sunshines? It is day 13 of VEDA, and the topic I chose to talk about is what kind of sounds do I like to listen to when I am doing work, whether it's writing or just stuff that I need to get done for the week. So I wanted to go ahead and show you that now.
So the first podcast that I listened to, I actually just found out this podcast. This podcast is, I have, a lot of my podcasts are very different in content. I have Disney podcasts, I have podcasts from various YouTubers, and just some random fandom ones. So for example, this first one I recently just found out from a group that I'm in, and it's a Disney Vault Talk. And granted, I have not listened to any of the episodes yet. For the fact that it's Disney, I could already imagine they're going to go more in depth in various episodes. So you kind of get the idea. It's going within each of the Disney movies itself. For those who don't know, I am a huge Broadway fan, and when I found out that the official Disney on Broadway had a podcast, I definitely fell in love with it. It goes really behind the scenes of a lot of the Disney theatricals. The latest episode is about the Lion King, in which it is celebrating its 20th anniversary. Another one of my favorite podcasts is Story Matters by Kurt Mega. And Kurt Mega is an actor who had been a part of the Fox hit show Glee. And really since then, I have really enjoyed his content that he's put on his YouTube channel. And he has since then started a podcast and really just goes in deeper thought about story, regardless if it was theater or television, anything like that. And he goes into a little bit deeper of his own writings, which I think is very cool. So I'm going to talk about actually is Disney movie news. And if you guys are Disney fans, I would highly suggest listening to this podcast. It has Leo Camacho and Sarah Stitch of Thingamavlogs, along with Keaton Marquis and Renee Ariel, and they just go bat crazy with all the Disney news, whether it's movies, casting, and anywhere in the parks. And not only do they do a podcast, but on every Wednesday night, they also go live on the Popcorn Talk YouTube channel and do a video cast of that as well. So they have various different topics that they go on, and it is pretty dang cool, if I say so myself. They are very interactive with the audience, which is don't see a whole lot of people do nowadays, but I think it's super, super cool. The next one is, again, another Disney one, but this podcast is called Disney Coast to Coast. Jeff DePauli and Patrick Dougal, again, of Thingamavlogs, first started this podcast together. And it's basically Disney news. They put a very unique spin on how they deliver the content. And since then, they have expanded Disney Coast to Coast to include various other YouTubers like Tracy Hines and a couple of other popular YouTubers or popular names in the Disney world. And they have a really fun time with it. I actually stumbled upon Disney Coast to Coast when I was just trying to find some new things to watch on YouTube. So I would highly suggest this, again, if you like Disney and if you like listening to what is new and upcoming in Disney world. So the second to last podcast I'm going to talk about is Not Too Deep by Grace Hellick. And when I first started listening to Grace's podcast, I fell in love. The concept of her not wanting any of her guests to go too deep into detail was a phenomenal way to go. And I think since then she has done 98 episodes, and all of her guests range from YouTubers to actors or actresses to overall just amazing people. I think one of my favorite podcasts of hers has to be Lily Singh, aka Superwoman on YouTube. But she is just phenomenal. And again, you can catch all of her actual visual podcasts on full screen. But again, it's something fun to listen to while you're working on the computer. And the last podcast that I listen to before I kind of get into the music aspect is Psychobabble by Tyler and Corey. Tyler obviously is a YouTuber sensation, and his best friend, Corey Cool, you have probably seen them on The Amazing Race, but this podcast is everything, and Tyler and Corey hold nothing back whatsoever. You really get to see a different side of both Corey and Tyler as they're in this podcast. However, it is phenomenal. Anytime I'm working and I listen to their podcast, it is pure genius, and I get a giggle out of it every single time. But who wouldn't? It's just super, super phenomenal. And I'm so glad Tyler ended up doing a podcast because I love me some Tyler Oakley.
So if you guys liked this video, make sure you give it a ray. And in the sunset below, let me know what kind of podcasts you listen to. And if you go ahead and listen to one of the podcasts I talked about, let me know in the down bar how you thought about it. So until tomorrow's video, don't forget to remember you're the one who can fill the world with sunshine.